Getting away with murder, in most cases, is very uncommon. But in this case, that is exactly what happened. This is the story of how the system failed Andrew Bagby and his son, Zachary Andrew Turner. Andrew Bagby, born September 25, 1973, was a medical student in his third-year residency at Memorial Hospital. Andrew's parents, Kathleen and David Bagby, doted on their son. Friends and family described Andrew as a loving, unselfish, amazing man, amongst other things. While in medical school in 1999, Andrew went through a rough breakup with his then fiancée, leaving Andrew heartbroken. So, when he began dating an older student by the name of Shirley Turner, his friends were happy to see him getting back to himself. Although his friends had some reservations about the relationship, stemming from the fact that they just didn't think Shirley was his type, or her over-sexual and inappropriate behavior, they decided to keep their feelings to themselves because, after all, Andrew seemed happy again. Nearly a year after dating, Shirley got a job and moved to Iowa, and Andrew moved to New York in the year 2000. And although the couple tried to maintain a long-distance relationship, it became very clear that it wasn't going to work. Andrew began pulling back, with only visiting Shirley in Iowa one time. As time went on, Andrew became more distant and Shirley became more obsessive. Unknowingly to Andrew, during this time, Shirley also began taking firearm lessons and purchased a gun. Her aggression became overwhelming for Andrew, and then he decided to end things with Shirley. But that didn't go over so well. In early November, while attending a wedding, Shirley showed up uninvited. Video at the wedding shows Shirley all over Andrew, pretending like nothing was wrong, and Andrew appearing aggravated. After the wedding, Andrew again tried to explain to Shirley that things between them were done. She then boarded a plane back home. But once her plane landed, Shirley began to call Andrew several times back to back. And when he wasn't responding the way she wanted him to, she then decided to grab her gun and drive the 16 hours back to his home. On November 5th, Andrew called his friend, telling him that Shirley showed up at his home that morning in distress. She didn't want to end things with Andrew. Andrew then told his friend that he was only able to calm her down by agreeing to meet her later that evening to end things amicably. Andrew's friend begged him not to meet with Shirley alone and told him he should have just called the police. But Andrew didn't see Shirley as a threat and reassured his friend he would be fine. But unfortunately, that wouldn't be the case. On November 6, 2001, the body of Andrew Bagby was found. He was shot 5 times, once to the chest, to the face, to the back of the head, and twice in the buttocks. Shell casings found on the scene were from a .22 caliber gun, the same gun Shirley purchased earlier. After speaking to friends and family, Shirley Turner was immediately on the police's radar. And despite authorities having evidence of phone calls she made from the area and that she had been to Andrew's house earlier, Shirley still stated she had been home in bed sick the entire time. But things wouldn't end there. As the investigation continued, in December, Shirley announced she was pregnant with Andrew's child, and everyone was surprised. On July 18th, 2002, Shirley would give birth to a bouncing baby boy by the name of Zachary Andrew Turner. Although I'm sure Kate and David Bagby wanted their son here to help raise his only child, so they were determined to get custody of Andrew. Months and months of custody battle over Andrew were soon to follow, but the Bagby refused to give up on their grandson, and they went through home searches, supervised visits, and countless court dates to have access to baby Zachary. Meanwhile, the investigation into Andrew's murder was still going on. Shirley was out of jail and only spent 2 months in custody following a judge's ruling that she was not a danger to the public. And in some twisted way, the judge was right. Shirley was not a danger to the public. She was now a danger to herself and baby Zachary. Now, we can only speculate on what led to the next tragic event in this story. Whether it was not wanting to lose custody of her child, or fearing jail time, or even perhaps some crazy thought that she could have had. We will never know the answer. On August 18th, 2002, Shirley gathered up Zachary and drove to Conception Bay. She then drugged her baby boy and then drugged herself. She picked him up, clutched him in her arms, walked to the edge of the cliff, and jumped, drowning them both in a murder-suicide. A CBC interview with the Newfoundland youth advocate Darlene Neuville stated something that I agree with. 1, Zachary Turner's death was preventable. And 2, Zachary was in his mother's care when he shouldn't have been. These senseless murders of both Andrew and his baby boy Zachary is a tragedy that definitely would stick with me. What do you think could have been done differently to save Andrew? What do you think could have been done differently to save Zachary? Until next time, be safe and take care of yourself. This was the story of Andrew Bagby and Zachary Andrew Turner.